Hi, this is the journey to $1 billion, and this is day one of Side Journey. For those of you who don't know me, welcome. My name is Bigo. Not too long ago, I was a regular software engineer in a corporate 9 to 5, and today I'm a business owner whose business is actually going to close to 8 figures this year in annual recurring revenue. This journey is primarily to $1 billion as stated before, and I'm going to be documenting the entire journey raw, day to day. So let's get straight into it. So the way we're going to start off the daily updates for every single video is as follows. First and foremost, we're going to do our YouTube Q&A. This means I'm going to answer your questions that you post on YouTube. By questions, I mean any of the comments, okay? After which, I'm going to dive into the topic of the video. So today, since this is day one officially, the topic will be building $1 billion roadmap. Because before we even decide to do anything, we first need to understand our roadmap and what it is exactly we have to do. And then last but not least, we'll do a little bit of strategizing. By strategizing, I mean primarily talking about both YouTube channels, this one as well as the main one, as well as the business and how all of them will work symbiotically to help one another. Now, keep in mind that every single daily update video, this will be consistent. This will be consistent. The only thing that will change is step 2, and that will be determined on the topic of the video. Okay? Without further ado, let's start from the first one. So the YouTube Q&A. Now, you'll notice that I already liked and hearted these messages. That's because I already recorded this video one time and I realized I didn't have the audio on. So rookie mistake, time to do it yet again, okay? So the first one that I want to get to obviously is the only question that we have, and it's by DRZ, and he says, what do you think about the mobile apps industry? So generally speaking, I know mobile apps get a lot of hype, but I personally do not like them. Main reason being is because it's equivalent to being on a hamster wheel. And keep in mind, this is essentially 99% of mobile apps developers, okay? So this is you. You'll be on this hamster wheel. Now, what does this hamster wheel actually consist of? Well, let's actually talk about how a mobile app even works. You create a mobile app and you need to get eyeballs on it, right? You need to get attention on it. How do you do that? Well, most often than not, it's going to be advertisements, ads. So you'll run ads for your mobile app, right? And you get users. And these users will come in, and most of the time for any mobile app, the customer churn rate is very high. So churn is very high, and LTV, generally speaking, is very low. Now, of course, I'm making a generalized assumption here, but this is true for most apps. That's just the way the mobile industry works. So what ends up happening is you run ads, right, to mobile, you get clients, they download the app, if it's free or not, if they make a purchase or not, doesn't really matter. They're gonna spend maximum about, let's say, 3 months. And that's on even good terms, right? And then the cycle repeats. If you want more revenue, you're gonna need to pump more ads. We saw this very recently actually with Cal AI, the nutrition tracking AI app, right, where you take a picture of your food and it gives you the calories. So I think they talked about it was doing about 4 million in monthly recurring revenue, right? But what ended up happening is close to 80% of that was going to ads. The average customer, I believe, LTV was 60 bucks because they would spend, they would stay for around 3 months at $19.99. And as a result, they would not take home that much in profit, right? So this is essentially the raw reality of most mobile apps. Now, what's the exception to this rule? It's 2 types of mobile apps. One that targets insecurities, and second that essentially becomes a part of your day-to-day life. One of the best examples, and actually very contrary, the Bible. Main reason I say it's contrary because you'll have a lot of people who will create apps that are not religious at all, simply because they know it's a very good cash cow. The people who will download this are religious folks and they're faithful, meaning they'll use this on a day-to-day basis. So any upsells or any type of purchases that will be in accordance with the app, people will most likely do, and they'll have a high LTV as well as very low churn. Another thing, dating apps. So dating apps target insecurities, and dating apps is literally the definition of pay to win, right? Second, you download it. If you want to get results, if you want those dopamines to actually fire, you need to pay to actually get some matches, right? Considering you have a normal profile. Of course, some people will get more matches than others without having to pay, but generally speaking, if you pay, you'll get more matches. right? And these two types of apps are very good. So one that targets insecurities and another that primarily becomes a daily habit, a part of your day-to-day life. These are the only two exceptions I would say. But regardless, if you are a beginner, I do not recommend you going into mobile apps. I believe mobile apps, if I was going to put them on like a tier list, would be A to S tier in terms of difficulty, okay? They are actually quite difficult and I don't recommend getting into them unless you have some other type of business experience behind your belt. That's why I personally even stay away from mobile apps because I just think the opportunity cost is so much bigger in other industries. But each to their own. So thank you for the question, DRZ. Hopefully that, provided an ample enough answer. A VSP says, pumped to see the journey. Legend of the Great. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Stay tuned. A lot more to come. And Kevin as well. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate the support. And now let's move on to the main topic of today's video, which is building the $1 billion roadmap that we're going to use to actually get to $1 billion. So as of right now, let's first talk about what we have, okay? Because in order to get to where we want to go, so if this is our finish line, right? We first need to understand where we are over here. So I would say I am probably currently right over here, okay? Now, currently I have 4 main ventures. So AB Analytics, as you guys are familiar with. I have C2C, Code to CEO, and then I have 2 other ventures that I am a co-owner in. So I'm not going to count those because those are just simply cash cows for me right now. They're nothing too crazy. So I'm going to only count these 2. So my main source of income is AB. We are currently sitting at almost 600K in monthly recurring revenue pretty consistently. The recent LA fires, but by recent I mean earlier in the year, definitely put a pretty big dent in our MRR. We lost a few clients, big ones at that. So we've been trying to basically recover it. But I would say we're floating at a good about 600K MRR. And by the end of the year, we will break 8 figures. Primarily because this is solely done through right now referrals and a very little amount of cold email. Perfect. So I know for a fact that, well, let's take a look at my journey, right? I'm going to create a roadmap. So this was 6 figures me, this was a 9 to 5. In order for me to get to 7 figures, right? Now, I could have stayed at a 9 to 5, but it would have probably taken me at least 5 to 10 years, I want to say, before I made partner, and then I could get my 7 figures. But the easiest route, of course, start a business. Specifically, I started a service-based business. Now, to get to 8 figures, once again, I'm probably going to ride with AB, right? Another service-based. But for me to get to 9 figures before I even dream of 10, I do not think AB will be the best vehicle for that. Let me explain. So if we were to think of these as destinations, right? Imagine I'm here. Let's say 7 figures is the grocery store, but how am I going to draw a grocery store? Okay, imagine this is a grocery store. Okay, there we go. That's a grocery store. The 8 figures, let's assume it is Costco. Whoops. Okay. So this is a local grocery store. Costco is, let's say, I'm going to say like 50 miles away, right? And then 9 figures is going to be, I don't know. Let's say, what was that one thing? I think it was, I remember seeing, I think Lidl? Arlita? I don't remember. It was something I remember seeing in Europe. But I'm just going to say like the name of the grocery store there. There we go. I know these are horrible drawings, but trust me, you'll understand what I mean. And I am using imperial units, so excuse me for that. I usually use metric, but I'm assuming most of the audience is from the US, so I'm going to use miles. And then this one I'm going to do like 5,000 miles. Okay, so if these are equivalent to my milestones, right? And this is where I kind of am, and this is a local grocery store, let's say like 500 meters away. I can walk here, right? And A/B analytics was that vehicle for me, okay? So the walk. From here to here, I have to drive, right? And still, I mean, I can walk, right? Technically speaking, it's just gonna take me a long time, but I still can. And I can technically bike too. I don't necessarily have to take a car. So I can bike as well. And that's what kind of A/B is here too. It sort of became a bike. There we go. But from here to here, I'm gonna need an airplane. And I don't think A/B will be able to transform into an airplane. I frankly think maximum maybe it can do a car. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of like big four in terms of consulting. These are all service-based companies, but they are absolutely huge. They have billions in revenue, but their margins aren't too hot because they do have a lot of employees, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something leaner. So I'm gonna need an airplane for this type of a jump, right? From 8 figures to 9 figures. For that, A/B is not gonna cut it. So what am I gonna do? Well, this is my exact roadmap. Just like how I preach in my other videos, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a unique advantage breakdown. If you don't know what that is, combination of your network, location, right, and your experiences. Now, if I go into this, it's gonna take me literally like days to fill out all of this, but I'm just gonna talk about what I've gained since starting the YouTube channel. In terms of my network, a lot of creators. I've met a lot of creators, influencers, whatever you wanna call them. So these are now essentially new individuals I have in my network that I didn't have before. In terms of my location, well, frankly, my location is still LA. I haven't moved where I live, but I do travel a lot more often now. So I travel for podcasts. You'll see a few of those coming out, right? And as a result, it takes me all around the world. So in a certain sense, you can say my reach is now global, right? In terms of experiences, oh boy, I learned a lot about communication. I already knew a lot about it, but I learned even more, right? I learned a lot about psychology, right? Retention, viewership, human psychology in general. I learned a lot more about copywriting, right? I learned how to be on camera. I learned time management because let me tell you something, YouTube is probably the hardest thing I've done. And I run almost an 8-figure business. YouTube is harder. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I'm just not a creative person. That's why I found it so difficult. But I needed to actually get really dialed in on my time management to be able to ideate, to be able to think of titles and ideas and thumbnails and all these things, right? So this is my new sort of unique advantage that I have. Now, what is the best way that I can use this unique advantage for my billion-dollar roadmap? Now, in my opinion, this is going to be what Code to CEO is all about, C2C. Now, you'll be like, what the hell, Code to CEO? I thought you were a course seller. How are you going to make $1 billion from it? Let me first explain what Code to CEO actually is. At its core, it's a startup accelerator. Oops. I hope I spelled that right. If I did not, don't blame me. English is my third language, so there's my excuse. Jokes aside, C2C is a startup accelerator, of course, with one-on-one coaching, right? So everybody in C2C, I coach them one-on-one, and also I have everything they need essentially to succeed when it comes to starting a business. But more than that, what C2C really is disguised as is venture capital, private equity. Let me explain. We have various students that come in, right? So we have people from various backgrounds, people from various expertise, people who've lived very different lives. But what is common is not everybody gets accepted. We are very selective in C2C. Some of you watching this might actually know if you've booked a call with me, you'll know how selective it is. You've probably booked a call and most often than not, I probably didn't accept you. For an example, we can have months where let's say we get 200 booked calls and we'll really only put maybe 1 or 2 people on the wait list, and of that, we'll take them off maybe 1 month at a time. But what CTC has allowed me to do is essentially gather individuals from all over the world, people the best at what they do. For example, Marco, right? Him specifically, AI ML wizard. Damir, he is a data wizard, right? We have Balazs, he is a CTO wizard. We have, let's say, Sandra, who's more familiar with healthcare tech as a software engineer. But what ends up happening is we attract top talent from all across the world, and every single one of them has a very unique skill set in some type of a different industry. All I really need is to essentially invest my money that I have from essentially AB, right, into C2C to make sure that all of these members grow properly. When all these guys grow properly, I only really need one of them to become hyper successful and create $1 billion startup, right? Or even $100 million startup. And I can take an equity of that and I can help him grow it, him or her. So if, let's say, I get even a small piece of the pie, 10% of, let's not go too crazy, let's do a $100 million valuation, that's, for me, $10 million, just right there. If I turn this into, let's say, $900 million valuation, that's 90 million. This is only considering if I have 10%. If I have more, if I'm going 50-50 equal partners with somebody, obviously that can be a lot more. Now, you might think this is just straight up delusion. How can you think this? It is not. Let me explain. Already, Marco, right? He, actually, I don't know if I can say this because he probably doesn't want me to say it, so I'm not going to say explicitly. But let's just say in about 5 years' time, he'll be more than retired. That's just the hint that I'm going to give you. We have Damir, who potentially has a breakthrough with what he is currently doing for a project. And we have very other similar individuals in similar situations where they are just a cusp away from something groundbreaking, essentially becoming 0 to 1 founders. I strongly believe this, and I know this for a fact because we have had some quants and many other individuals join. Essentially, pretty much 99% of the members who have joined already make 6 figures, or at least they make, like they're in the top 1% of wherever they're in. If they're from let's say, Eastern Europe, they'll be in the top 1%. This means that if I have a community of the smartest engineers across the world with regards to technical skill, all I need to do is invest as many of my resources as possible into them, to teach them the marketing, to teach them the sales, to teach them the business acumen they need to succeed. And in doing so, in building up that goodwill, they will be more than happy to partner with me because I can literally help them. It's a win-win situation. And if I have even just one person every quarter, right? One person every 4 months, I'll have 3 people in a year. They go on to become 0 to 1 founders. That is what I am hedging my bet on. And this is literally exactly what essentially like YC Combinator does, right? Y Combinator. What it does is they have, let's say, thousands of startups that they invest in, right? So all these guys, you might be like, well, they're losing so much money. Not really. All they really need is one of their hedges to win, because second one becomes unicorn. It's not just like a 10x or 100x. No, it's like a 10,000x. This is exactly what I'm doing with here, except as opposed to YC Combinator, I have way more control over what it is I'm doing. I have way more control over these individuals because I limit the amount of people that go into Code to CEO. It's not just a regular course. You can't just sign up for it. I have to like you, I have to allow you inside, and I work with you one-on-one, right? That means I choose who I work with and I invest my own time and resources into these individuals. Most of you watching, especially if you're already in C2C, you know I'm losing money on C2C. Not the smartest business decision, but I am playing the long term. I already make concessions with it. If I lose, let's say, 300,000 a year over the course of 5 years, that's 1.5 million. I'm pretty sure I can get that back with regards to a very good equity offer, right? So this is what I'm hedging on. This will be my $1 billion plan. Now, it's not only just going to be getting equity in these companies, but also in doing my own stuff too. So there's already a project that a few of the students are working on that I brought in from Canada. I'll actually have to update them later too. But if that turns out what I think it's going to turn out, that will be another 8 to 9 figure project that we'll be able to take on. So this is what I mean. AB is not the correct vehicle for me to get to 9 figures, nor 10 figures. C2C will definitely allow me to get to 9 figures. And if I find a better vehicle to get me to 10 figures, that's what we'll do. But for now, the roadmap is as follows. Continue running AB, cash flowing and scaling it slowly but surely, putting all that cash flow back into CTC to make sure that I attract the smartest talent in the world, build a proper team, educate them and coach them on learning the proper business acumen, partner with them, build a company, get equity, and voila. That is the roadmap for $1 billion. You might be, this is delusional, this is simple. Well, it's really not that hard if you just think about it. And I'm going to use my unique advantage for it because I'm the only one who can do this. Nobody else will be able to do this because everybody's running courses. They make their money mainly from courses. Guess what? I can take a loss on this. I don't have to make money from it. I can just feed everything I make from AB into it, right? So literally, I'm just playing against time. That's really the only thing. As long as I don't give up and as long as I consistently put out content and I try my best every single day to help you guys, I'll get there eventually. And you'll also win. So this is literally a win-win situation. And actually, this connects to our strategizing because for this to work, I'm going to need to do a little bit of a shift in how I approach YouTube right now. You might know I have 2 channels. So I have the main one and then I have the daily one. The daily one I have, as the name suggests, daily uploads. The main one right now I have 2 uploads a week. Right? So I'm going to bring down this one from 2 uploads a week to 1 very good upload a week. This one's going to stay at 7 uploads a week. And my hope in doing this is that this one video will be 10 to 30 minute long video. And it will be very useful because it will be an actual either case study, either a testimonial, or me in the trenches showing you something. The daily ones will be just literally daily stuff. So I just explained my roadmap, how I'm going to approach it, what my plan is, right? Every single day, just continue uploading, continue making C2C better, and we'll go through it step by step together. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to discuss in this one. If you have any questions whatsoever, drop them in the comments below. Remember, I'm going to read your comments on the video that I put up right now in my next one. So if you want me to answer anything, please put down a comment. And in the meantime, if you want to work one-on-one with me, or you want to learn more about Code to SEO, just book a call with me. I'm the one that goes on these calls. I don't have a sales guy hopping on these calls. And I'm not going to sell you. I'm just going to genuinely actually help you out. If you're a good fit, I'll tell you. If you're not a good fit, I'll also tell you. So without further ado, as always, thank you so much for watching and have a good one.